We've had a nice week of practice. Wanted to get outside today, but there was snow all over the field out there and couldn't get out there. We got out on Tuesday and then ended up being in on Wednesday, Thursday, so I was a little disappointed because it was perfect temperatures today. Our kids actually wanted to go out too. It was 30 degrees and 13-mile-an-hour winds, which is about what it'll be on Saturday at noon. So we're ready to roll and got a couple more days of prep, but we're good. Questions?
We talked to Keaton earlier this week, and he was talking about how after the Tennessee game, after he got hurt, it maybe took a little while for him to get back into sort of the flow of the offense. Maybe it took a few weeks. And I was thinking about how the Rhode Island game was his first game back. You guys threw a lot of like screens, high percentage stuff.
We ran it a lot.
And ran a lot. Do you think that game might have been an opportunity to try to get some of that flow back, use it as a chance to get the passing game going before you jump into the ACC?
Yeah, we can look back and, what game was that, game 4, whatever it was, we can look back and say that, I don't know if it really matters. We wanted to keep him protected, run the football. I didn't want to get him hit again. So, and I know Coach Signetti didn't either, so whatever. It's a long time ago. We're in the Duke week, Chris. Come on, Jerry. Jerry, you got a better question than that.
Chris is my mentor. Yeah.
He screens all Jerry.
Taught me all I know.
Speaking of Duke, the number 2 rushing offense in the ACC, their quarterback gets out. You guys have made it a point to get better against rushing quarterbacks. And I know I asked a similar question last week, but you guys did a better job again against Brennan Armstrong. Have you seen your guys take considerable steps to make sure that that's not a problem anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I think so, but it's week by week. Like I said, nobody cares what they did last week. Duke's not going to really worry about that. They're going to play their game. They're going to hope. They may check more than other teams that we see. So if they see pressure coming, we got to do a good job disguising and not showing them stuff. But they do a good job. If they see something coming over here, they're going to go over there. If they see it come from over there, they're going to bring it. They're going to check it. They're going to get themselves into the screen. They're going to do something. They'll have their plan. They'll have we're running this play, and if we get this look, we're running this play. That's why they're going to average snap time is like 31 seconds here in 5-game breakdown that we've got on them. So, it doesn't matter. We're going to find out what they got this week, and we got to stop the quarterback for sure. He's the key. Their tailbacks are good. And again, I think their staff does a great job of putting them in the position to be successful running the football.
How do you practice against teams that do a lot of those checks like that? Like they test your discipline on could show strong side over here, but they could go weak side. With that. How do you practice against that?
We just got to be sound versus everything. I mean, if we blitz from the left side, then we got to be good versus whatever they do. So it doesn't matter. We have to execute. We got to know what's happening. We got to first make sure we don't jump off sides, which we've worked on with the multiple claps that we'll see this week.
Is there a unit that's done especially well against the quarterback runs, like your ends, your outside linebackers? Is there one group that you
need them all? I mean, it's we need them all. And, they ran 2 nice quarter. He had 2 good quarterbacks. Leonard did against us. 2 quarterback keepers against us last year. One in mop-up duty at the end of the game, but one for about 10 yards early. On a keeper, where the tight end kind of avoids, and he's got a blocker for him on a zone read keep, but he's got we called it a void guy, tight end that's going to block from down the field on a safety. So we worked a lot on that. We got some different fun, different stuff to help ourselves there.
They've only given up 14 sacks, Duke has. Are they match protecting a lot?
They I wouldn't say they max protect to just get the ball out. They know where to go. I mean, Leonard knows where to go with the ball. I wouldn't say, we've seen teams with a lot more max protection than they do. So they're not keeping that tight end. Even when you go to third down, they're going to line up, and most of the time they're spread out. They're going to be in 40 catch. The tight end's going to be out of the box and running routes. So they're going to, they do a good job of finding grass and knowing where to go with the football. So they're not really worried about protection. They're going to get the ball and try to beat you with the ball.
Elijah was telling us how he draws inspiration from Aaron Donald, both being 6 foot, around 280, using their size to beat people. What do you see from him? I know that Aaron wasn't here when you were here, but still, what do you see from him that's like, whoa, he finds all these other ways to win, despite offensive guards, tackles, they can be 5 inches taller than him.
Yeah, I mean, just Kalijah is one of those guys, and I've watched enough Aaron Donald, whether it's, the Super Bowl and watching him, Aaron Donald plays with an attitude, so does Kalijah Cansey. There's an attitude about those 2 guys, and again, I don't want to compare Kalijah to Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is Aaron Donald. You have to do what Aaron Donald's done at the next level to be Aaron Donald, so let's not confuse things there. But Kalijah's got the ability to be like that guy. I can't compare what Kalijah's doing right now in his junior year here at Pitt compared to what that Aaron Donald did. And, I just can't even compare those. But Aaron Donald's Aaron Donald. But Kalijah's just he's explosive. He's like one of those. I don't even think he wrestled down there in Miami, but he would be an unbelievable wrestler because he's just quick. He knows how to use his hands. He plays with great leverage, and he just knows how to get off of people, and he uses his hands so well.
Can you develop attitude, or do you have to be born with that?
Well, you can develop it too. I think we coach attitude every day. It's nice to have it before you get here. I mean, if you got he is just one of those chemists. He's positive every day, and nothing gets him down. You can rip him, and he just keeps coming back from he wants more from that. Rip me again. He just feeds off of everything he possibly can. Nothing is a negative for that guy. He's special.
Pat, how important is finishing strong to sort of making sure that the perception of the program is that 8 wins, 9 wins, like that's the floor now, as opposed to if you take a step back to something a little bit less than that?
Yeah, I think college football every year is a little bit different. You lose a couple good players and maybe more than a couple good players. You got to work at it every year. There's nothing given in this game. Perception's perception. I mean, if there's perception and reality, and the reality is every year is a different year. We're not drafting guys. We're not. You got to hit on some recruits. You got to get some good players. You got to have playmakers, and you got to make plays. So I mean, I'm not worried about the perception. I'm worried about winning the next game and looking good and feeling good and knowing what we have coming back and all those things. So perception, you can never worry about perception. We can't, I really don't worry about that.
Did you?
It's nice, but sorry.
I'm sorry.
Is this your first question of the day?
I think it might be. Yeah. Did Larry Fitzgerald speak to the team the other day? And did he speak to you guys? Did you talk?
We talked. He talked to the receivers. I didn't break practice to pull him up because he came in the middle and he was hustling out as well. He was there about 40 minutes, but I didn't want to. He didn't come. I want Larry to continue to come back. But if I put a bunch of pressure and say I need you to talk over here, I need you to go over here, I don't want to wear Larry out. So I try to respect. He wanted to come watch Pitt football, and that's what I wanted him to do is kind of have relax. I think Taekwon Underwood and him have a relationship, so Coach Underwood brought him up, brought the receivers over to which if I was a receiver coach, I probably would too.
What was his message to the receivers? Do you know?
I wasn't there. It was field goal periods when they got him.
Mm-hmm.
Receivers aren't on field goal period, and I was watching Ben Sauls put him through the upright.
You guys are 8-1 since the start of 2020 in the month of November. Is there something about you guys that you start to figure things out late in the year that's helped with your success in that month, or is that just coincidence?
I don't know. I mean, we'd like to finish strong. That's nice. I didn't know that 8-1 EJ. Another thing EJ doesn't tell me. But I didn't know that record. Appreciate it,
We
Chris.
should have EJ's job.
Maybe.
Whoa,
Maybe.
whoa, whoa. Don't get me in trouble.
Holidays are coming up. What are you trying to do?
Needs Christmas money, but 8 and you said 8-1 in November. When
Since the start of 2020.
21. Okay, so I mean, I don't know. Maybe we were good in the COVID year. I don't know. Just play hard and finish. I don't know. Maybe we play bad teams in November. We certainly don't have one this week.
Well, I mean, like 2020, that was the month that you guys rallied after your rough October stretch last year. That was the month that you guys pushed through and owned the ACC and got the Coastal Division. And this year, you guys rebounded from another rough October, figuring things out, and you have a chance to finish with 8 wins before bowl season. That just seems like you guys are able to learn from lessons and adapt.
Well, I hope so. I mean, that's what we preach about. Again, it's execution and details, and our guys get it. They know. I mean, we just got to take care of our details on Saturday. But I don't know if there's any secret recipe. We're not doing any November recipe or anything. But
You've probably seen some teams, at least at practice, fizzle out this time of year when it's November. Well, this team apparently is, from what I understand, practicing hard to engage. What keeps these guys?
I had to rip them. On Tuesday after Tuesday's practice. By the way, we had a good practice, but the scout team was not as good as I needed to, and they came out and killed it on Wednesday and pushed our guys. But there's no fizzling out. That's a coach's job. Make sure we're going to play hard, practice hard. But these are a bunch of you got 115 a lot of teenagers out there that you just got to continue to stay on them. If you just let it happen, you're letting it happen, and I'm not going to let it happen. So that's me to stay on top of that and get them cranked up and ready to go. But we don't fizzle
What
out.
do you do to stay on top of it?
Love them up and keep them motivated. Give them something to go play for and practice. I mean, just I don't know, just be me, I guess. I don't know. I can't tell you.
When you played, when it was cold outside, did you ever say to yourself, geez, I wish I didn't have practice today? And maybe you were 4 and 5 or something?
No. You know, it doesn't really matter. Again, I wanted to go out today bad. Like LaSalle had to talk me off the wall, but wanted to go out. I thought for sure. I said, we're going out 2 out of 3 days. We're going out. So, there was no snow up in Wexford this morning, was there?
No.
Came down here and looked at the fields. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Someone messed up the party today.
You mentioned staying on, guys. The longer that you've been here, have you had those conversations less? Do you feel like because of the programs that's being built that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, probably less. I mean, I remember having to get them cranked up a little bit more and maybe getting a player to go talk. You know, early, I had to get players to come up in front of the team, maybe on a Wednesday or Thursday morning, just to get them fired up and get them cranked up a little bit. I haven't had to do that. I haven't had to pull that thing out of my back pocket just to get them cranked up. Used to bring Alex Bookser. Bookser used to get up in front of the team and get them cranked up. You know, I thought about doing it, but we haven't had to do it. So to your point, our guys are pretty locked in. They know we got to go to work every day. They all have goals to get better. And we give them a goal sheet every week. Like, what do you want to do this week? And maybe that's something. Haven't talked much. Every week we got a goal card for each player that they got to show me. A Tuesday morning meeting. Like, hey, what are you doing this week to be better? And I'm not just talking football. I'm talking, in the classroom, in life. Call your mother twice this week instead of once last week. Whatever it may be, put your 5 or 6 goals down that you want to accomplish this week. So just goal oriented. Our kids have done a good job. I haven't had to do much.
What was on Keaton's board this week?
I don't go look at their cards now. Come on, man.
I mean, that means, would you like to see, we're at the point of the season there, you'd like to see him start to build more momentum, like the chemistry that's sort
I like them all.
I mean, he plays a pretty important position.
Yeah.
And it's hard to go a month without throwing a touchdown pass in college football unless you play for like Army, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
Well, we've been kind of like Army a little bit. We've been running the ball pretty good. You guys keep going back to last year when we were throwing it every down. When your run game is good, you're not going to throw as many touchdown passes. When Izzy's rushing for 20-some touchdowns, at least somebody's getting the end zone.
And I understand, if he wins games, that's what the quarterbacks are ultimately. I mean, the teams are the quarterbacks. Especially.
But I'd surely like to see more touchdowns.
Right.
But I didn't look to see if he said I want to throw 3 touchdown passes this week.
He did not say that.
I don't know. I didn't see. I didn't look to see if he said that. But I'm sure he'd like to throw touchdown passes too. And maybe we will this week.
Who's the guy that gets the team cranked up? You said Bookser used to do it.
Bookser, Savasier, Brandon Hill on defense. Offensively, Carter Warren was always a guy that could do it. Let me see who else on offense. Offense is different. Jared Wayne, I would say, was one of those guys. And probably Cradle, I would say, up front. And Marcus Minder. Maybe we have a few of them.
When they do that, do they raise their voice? I'm sure back Lamar Hamlin there's raising his voice when he's doing that.
Yeah, they raise their voice.
You talked about being hard on the scout team on Tuesday. Isn't it? I mean, it's hard to be on the scout team, isn't it?
And you got to get your motors going every day. I told them you're good. If the offense wants to come out and kind of go through the motions, and you let them go through the motions, like we got a couple guys that'll stir things up. Like Elliot Donald last year would be a guy that was always in the backfield. There's got to be a fight every once in a while. If there's not a fight, then we got problems. There's got to be a fight because that means, the offense is getting mad or the defense is getting mad at the offensive guys for going too hard. Okay, there's no brother-in-law going on with the, what the brother-in-law is. Don't brother-in-law it out there.
Do you go up? I mean, if there's
This is some great conversations.
Like if there's a gap between scrums or whatever, will you go up to a scout team kid and be like, hey, start some shit? I mean, is that we talk about motivation?
We've been known to do that, yeah. Especially, yeah, we have.
Have there been any lately? Like in this week, last week?
I tell you what, Aiden Thomas is a guy that's always getting after it a little bit. He's a walk-on that I think is going to play some football here. He's always causing some problems up front. Kai Johnson caused some issues. Secondary had to get after them. I mean, everything's related on what you see on the field and how those guys play, how hard they play. So when I look at some holding calls that we've gotten on the edge with receivers, I go back and watch and I rip the secondary about getting off of blocks. If you don't get off a block, I go up there and I block you. I had my guy, but if you don't try to rip off, then we need to coach it on tape. If you just get blocked, that doesn't help us any. We need to coach receivers to make sure they keep their hands inside and block the right way and all those details.
there was an or on the depth chart at center this week. Is that just a matter of Jake's been playing well, he's been in there, so we're gonna kind of ride with him, or are you just waiting for Owen to get back to 100%?
Who started last week at center?
Jake, I'm pretty sure. Owen.
Drexel.
Huh?
Center?
Come on, guys. Who started at center last week?
Drexel.
Thought it was open, yeah.
Yeah, it's Owen. So Owen started last week, but it could be either one. I just
Is
put
that-
Nora on there just so you had to ask that question.
That's why-
I don't know. I mean, it could be either one of those guys.
Is that a position that you can rotate a lot?
And not a lot. I wouldn't rotate him every play. That would be a lot if we rotate him every other play. But we feel good with both those guys in there, and so we really go through practice to find out who that's going to be. That's why we practice. Just don't want to give it to somebody.
Have you seen Bengali Kamara and Solomon Shields as a pair grow this year in what you've asked of them? Because you talked before about where there might have been a mistake and how they responded to it, but now you've been able to see them stack days, stack weeks as far as their growth. Where are those guys at for being the next generation of linebackers?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be really good. I think they've had a really solid year for us. There's the ups and downs in practice, probably more ups and downs in practice that you got to get after. But it's just that consistency every day. But I've been happy with their growth that they've had this year. They're going to be two really good ones on the outside.
Anything final for this session?
Yeah, I do. This is one more about the scout team. I talked to Kenny yesterday about Kalijah, and he said, I could tell pretty early on that he was going to be a problem. Like, even he's running scout, and I'm like, who is this kid? Number 8. He's always stirring stuff up. But he said he wasn't on the scout team for long. That was Kenny.
He was on the scout field for a little bit. I mean, there was periods he'd go down there and just, But I remember him. I can picture it now that you say that.
I mean, are there, because you want to get a certain element from your scout team, are there sometimes kids who have maybe earned a promotion to the second team or whatever, but you're like, you know what, I kind of need him in this group because he brings something out that we need the other side of the ball to get?
Yeah, we will rotate guys down there. So, to your good point there, we're going to rotate guys. Like Nakai Johnson's a guy that's, if he's doing a good job down there, it's talked about in here, and we're moving him down to get him some more reps down there and see the difference. So, there's guys we constantly are moving up and down, trying to, it also motivates them to get, go down for, hey, we're going to have you, down period 2, or the second team period, I should say, and let them see what they've got. So we use that. If you're bad down there, you ain't getting any reps. You'll never come down with the defense or the offense.
Thank you very much, Coach.